is why people don't understand. They are going to continue to do these as Adam Aaron did. They're going to keep raising money. So eventually it's going to be hard to keep it up until we find out what they're going to do. But if they leak my plan, which I'm sticking by the way, and the reason I'm doing that is part because last night we talked about Tether. And I'm very worried about Tether, which is this, interaction means that that is not backed up by what I thought they were. And what I'm really concerned about is, let's say the PRC decided, you know what, we got to crack down on this. There's too many things happening that make it so we've lost control of our own people. Now remember, they've cracked down for religious freedom. Why wouldn't they crack down and say we cannot have Bitcoin in this country, unregistered people making a lot of money? Look at what they've cracked down on people who run Alibaba. So I think that there's a very much of a chance that the PRC wakes up and says, you know what, we've had it with Bitcoin. If that's the case, then Tether would be in a lot of trouble. It's in the form of things that will make your place look better.
All right, and now back to Bitcoin and Tether. Now, Bitcoin, it's making a nice move higher ever since El Salvador announced that they would accept Bitcoin as legal tender. But you did a huge piece on Tether last night. So you usually don't talk about crypto too much on Mad Money. What made you talk about Tether?
My friend Tim Massad from law school penned a piece for Bloomberg about how he was worried about Tether, worried that it's this company, by the way, that is kind of like you use them as an intermediary to buy, and it's also you can use them to get leverage. But what's most important about them is that they have a balance sheet that is opaque. And Tim doesn't like that. Tim has said, look, they have a page that shows you that they own some commercial paper and this and that, but they don't tell you whose paper. They don't tell you what they have. And so he compared it to Lehman Brothers. Now, I was adamant that Lehman was in big trouble, but I had no idea how much trouble they were really in. So when I see someone analogize to Lehman, I get very scared. So I had Tim on, and in order to be able to have him on to explain the risks, we explained the risk first and then had Tim on, because he just says, look, you got to have, this is one of the biggest balance sheets, one of the top 10 banking institutions, and we know nothing about them, and he just doesn't like that. Look, there's going to have to be some regulation, and I know there's a lot of people out there who don't want any regulation for Bitcoin, but when you start having it being in a 401k, when you start having it so that it's offered as legal tender in El Salvador, you're going to attract a Gensler. You're going to attract, Tim Massad, just was the head of the CFTC. I mean, and this guy's a brilliant guy, and he's worried. So if he's worried, I'm worried.
Yeah, and I think, transparency in a $60 billion market, I think that's the least that you can ask for.
Right. Let's just have it. Show us what you have. Get a real auditor in there. I know they think their auditor is good, but let's just get someone to make it so that we absolutely are certain that they're fine, and that the commercial paper they have is good commercial paper, and that the loans they have is good. And New York, they're not allowed to be in New York State, Tether. And that's because the AG sued them because of this opacity. So let's just open the kimono, and then I'll feel much better about Tether. I do not, the Bitcoin places that I buy, I went and they don't use Tether.
And that's all part about doing due diligence. Yes. All right, Jim, we're going to move on to our